so today we are talking about contour and bronzer. Because I get a lot of times that I ask people if they've ever tried contouring before, and they'll say things like, well, I wear bronzer. And there's a really, really big difference, even though they kind of seem similar, between contour and bronzer. And so I want to talk to you guys today about what the difference is when you use them and where and how you use them. So I'm just going to throw my highlight on here so that that's already done when we go to put my bronzer on here. All right, so the biggest thing is the temperature of the color. So a contour is designed to create shadows. All right, so contour we're using to create shadows on our face. And because we're creating a shadow, we want to make sure that the color is really cool. Because sorry about that. If you look at a shadow, like a natural shadow outside or on someone's face or anywhere, they look almost gray. Now, we don't really want to put just straight gray on our face because you want to have that natural skin tone in there as well. But you want it to be a cool tone so that it creates that shadow. So let me grab, let's see here. Okay, so where's my, I just stuck mine back here. All right. So contour color is a cool color. We're going to use it to create shadows. So you can see I have natural redness here on my skin, as most people have some redness there. And so the contour, let me see if I can kind of swatch this out for you so you can see it better on my skin. All right, so here is the contour color that I wear. This one is called Olive. So you can see how cool it is. It does have, like I said, that little bit of warmth in it. Depending on the natural warmth and tone to your skin. Like here's Ash, and that one has even less warmth. But you want it to be a nice, cool color. And that's one thing that sets mascaras, foundations, I feel like, apart from others, is I know for years I kept trying to find good contour colors, and they always looked orangey or bronzy, which is really not going to create that shadow effect that you want with contour. All right, so now what I'm going to do, dip into my contour here, and I'm going to create shadows. So your cheek naturally dips in here. So I'm going to add this right underneath my cheekbone to bring out that shadow. So if I were to do this with bronzer, it would make me look tan, but it wouldn't really create the shadow. And that's what you want. You want it to kind of look like that plane of your cheek comes out and then drops, and you have this shadow here. So obviously this isn't going to be blended yet for a minute. And then we create shadows underneath our jawline. And if you guys have questions or anything, please ask them. So I'm just going to create that little bit of shadow right there under my jawline. And then I like to create just a little shadow right on the hairline. So you're not dragging it clear down your forehead. And all that's doing is recessing. That shadow is recessing back everything outside of that kind of idealistic oval right here. We're just kind of recessing everything else back. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And then the other thing that is really fun to use contour for is if you do nose contouring. And so again, we're just creating a shadow. So with nose contouring, like right now you can see the light is hitting my nose, and then you can see a natural shadow right here where my nose drops back. So when you're nose contouring, depending on what shape you are trying to achieve, you know, if I'm trying to kind of narrow this, then you just bring that shadow up a little bit higher on your nose so that that part where the light is hitting is thinner. Or if you've got like a funky shape to your nose, you've got a bump or a bulb on it, if you put a straight contour line and it makes that artificial shadow, then it makes it have the appearance, right? So we're just kind of working with light, with the highlight, dark with the contour, creating light spots and shadowy areas for our face. All right, so let me kind of blend this in now. So you can see now that I created that artificial shadow a little bit higher up on my nose, it kind of gives that illusion that the nose is a little bit more narrow right there. So we're going to blend all this in. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and use for my blush today Bear, because Bear is included in my Mother's Day special and is part of my customer appreciation this week or this month. So I want to show you guys this color. Super pretty. It's just a really, really soft, here we'll swatch it out for you too. It's just like a really, really soft, kind of neutral mauve-y rose color. So I'm going to put that, a little bit of that here on my cheeks, and then we'll get into bronzer. So you can see for someone who doesn't love a lot of cheek color, doesn't want anything bright or crazy, Bear is like a gorgeous color. It just has that perfectly soft tone to it. All right, so now, so we talked bronzer, or we talked contour. So contour is a cool color. Think grays. And it's creating shadows. So we created shadow here, shadow here, shadow here, and a little bit of shadow here. So bronzer is different. Bronzer, where's my bronzer? So bronzer is a warm color. Let me just kind of swatch this out on my arm for you too. All right. So here's the bronzer. So you can see it has a lot more warmth to it. I hate using the word orange because people hate that word. But it is warmer, which gives kind of more of that golden orangey tone to it. Now bronzer does not create shadows, right? Because it's that warm color. So what we're using bronzer for is to create that sun-kissed glow that we want. So basically bronzer is going to go anywhere that, say you were to go out to the beach or whatever, and you're in the sun all day, and you come home and you've got that little bit of sun. Where do you get the sun? Where is it going to kind of bronze and give you that glow? And that's where your bronzer is going to go. So this is my blush and bronzer brush, and I'm using my Cayman powder bronzer today. I'll be showing off our new Bella cream bronzer I think next week, and we'll compare so you can see the differences between the powder bronzer and the cream bronzer. So I've just got a little bit of bronzer here, and the first place I notice is I always catch sun here on my forehead. So I'm just going to kind of take, and I'm just going to do one side so you guys can kind of see the difference. And I'm just going to kind of lightly fluff the bronzer along this whole side here. Now I'm going to leave right here because I want to keep that nice and soft and highlighted. But can you see how that adds kind of like that bronzy glow? And I'm just gonna come around my temple and kind of down along the top of my cheekbone. So now with the contour, I ran it underneath my cheekbone to create a shadow. Now I'm creating where the sun would naturally hit me and bronze me, which is gonna be on top of my cheeks. Now, I don't wanna bring the bronzer clear in this like sacred triangle here. We always wanna leave that nice and bright. So as I come around, whoops, I'm throwing my brushes. As I come around the temple, I'm just gonna kind of run it down that top of my cheekbone, and even to where it's kind of going on top of my blush a little bit, that's okay. If you think about it, when you're out in the sun like that, typically you naturally get a little bit of pink in with the bronze, right? And so that's kind of what we're doing, is you have that little bit of pink there, and then you have that little bit of bronze coming in on top of it. And then you can bring some down and hit your chin. You could hit your nose. But the main points that you really want to focus the bronzer would be kind of hitting this kind of side area of your forehead, around the temple, and down the cheekbone. And then the bronzer, you know, with the contour, we did the shadow right underneath the jawline. Now, if you like to kind of bronze out your chest or neck, that's where you would use bronzer, right? Because that is where the sun hits. So we don't have shadows here on our chest, but the sun does hit us here. So it's really natural to add that little bit of bronzing there. Hopefully that makes sense. And you guys are gonna love when I show you the difference between using this powder bronzer versus using that cream bronzer. You're gonna see a total difference. It's so fun. Again, here's it swatched out. So here's your contour colors and the bronzer color. So can you guys see the difference there? So this side kind of looks like I'd been out in the sun all day. I have this nice glow. Whereas this side is just kind of a natural, I mean, they both look natural, but they just have that different look. I don't typically wear bronzer in the winter time because you kind of want that cool, just soft, subtle look to your makeup. But in the summertime, I love to throw on some bronzer, and it just accents that natural tan, that natural glow you're picking up by being out in the sun. Throw that little bit of an illuminator there on top of it to just brighten up that glow just that much more. And it's just so pretty. So that's pretty much that. Here's the bronzered side. Here's the contour only side. And it's totally personal preference. I think that most people should use some kind of contour just because it accents your face in such a beautiful way and highlights these areas that are naturally kind of that shape that's naturally in your face. Bronzer isn't necessarily for everyone, but most people want to have some sort of like summery glow or something. And our Cayman bronzer and our Bella bronzer, they're fairly light toned bronzers. And so even fair skin can get away with using them as long as you use them really lightly. And then darker tones, you know, you can get a little bit heavier with them. Or you can even use, let's see here, our cinnamon highlight has that beautiful bronzy tone to it too. So this is actually a highlight for darker skin, but see how bronze it is? So if you've got a darker tone and you try, like our Cayman bronzer is too light for you to show up and really give you that bronzy glow, then you could move and try that cinnamon highlight as your bronzer. It is a little bit thicker because it's a highlight, so it does have coverage, whereas our Bella bronzer, which is a cream bronzer, it doesn't really have any color coverage to it. It's just kind of some thin, almost translucent color. So it's not going to give you coverage. So there's a little bit of difference there. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have questions about how to use contour or how to use bronzer, how they're different, something maybe I didn't touch on here, or if you've got a color that you use that you like and you've been using it maybe as contour and now you're starting to realize maybe it's more of a bronzer or something like that, please feel free to comment, shoot me a message, and tell me what the color is, and I can totally help you figure things out. Make sure you've got the right stuff to get the looks that you're going for. And that's pretty much it. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.